This morning, Tuesday, March 24, 2026, while most of the world was still asleep, an Iranian ballistic missile sliced through the sky and slammed into the streets of Tel Aviv, Israel's largest city. Buildings shook. Fires broke out. Smoke rose above the skyline. And here's the thing, this isn't the first time. This isn't even close to the first time. This is day 24 of a war that has already changed the Middle East forever. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, why it happened, and why you, no matter where you live in the world, should be paying very close attention. Stay with me, because this story is only getting bigger. To understand what's happening today, we need to go back just 24 days. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched a massive, coordinated military campaign against Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump publicly stated that the goal was to stop Iran from developing nuclear weapons and, in his own words, to push for regime change from within Iran itself. The Israeli operation was codenamed Operation Roaring Lion. In the first 24 hours alone, the Israeli Air Force struck over 500 military targets inside Iran, using approximately 200 fighter jets in what officials described as the largest combat operation in Israeli Air Force history. The United States, for its part, has now hit more than 7,000 targets inside Iran since the conflict began, according to U.S. Central Command. Iran did not sit quietly. Within hours of the first strikes, Tehran launched what it called Operation True Promise Ipur, firing missiles and drones not just at Israel, but at U.S. military bases across the entire region. The war that many feared for years had finally begun. Now let's talk about what happened just hours ago, here in Tel Aviv. Early Tuesday morning, Israel's military detected an incoming Iranian ballistic missile strike targeting central Israel. Sirens blared across Tel Aviv, warning residents to take cover. According to Israeli emergency services, Magen David Adom, the attack resulted in 6 people being lightly injured across 4 separate impact sites in the city. The most dramatic scene unfolded on a street in Tel Aviv, where an Iranian warhead carrying approximately 100 kilograms of explosives struck directly. Tel Aviv's home front commander, Colonel Mickey David, confirmed that the impact caused severe structural damage to 3 nearby buildings. Multiple vehicles were also destroyed. Colonel David told reporters that visually, the damage looked catastrophic. But thankfully, the vast majority of residents had already taken shelter in nearby bomb shelters before the impact. That is why the death toll this morning was not higher. Investigators also noted something important. Based on the damage pattern, this particular warhead did not appear to be a cluster munition. Those are the more deadly multi-fragmentation weapons Iran has used in earlier attacks. It appeared to be a smaller, single conventional warhead, but the buildings are still being assessed for potential collapse. A fragment from another Iranian missile in the same wave was also found near a Palestinian village in the West Bank, a sign of just how wide the impact zone of each attack can be. Here's what's critical to understand. This war has never been limited to just Iran and Israel. It has already pulled in the entire Middle East. In Lebanon, over 1,001 people have been killed since Israel renewed large-scale strikes there. Among the dead are at least 118 children, according to Lebanon's health ministry. More than 2,584 people have been wounded. Israel has now conducted over 250 strikes across Lebanese territory. In Bahrain, Iranian missiles have targeted the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in the Jafar district multiple times. A 29-year-old woman was killed, and 8 others were injured when a residential building in Bahrain's capital Manama was struck. In Qatar, 2 Iranian ballistic missiles struck Al Udeid Air Base, one of the largest U.S. military installations in the entire region. All schools moved to remote learning and public Ramadan gatherings were suspended. In the United Arab Emirates, at least 8 people have been killed and over 160 injured. And across the region, 13 American soldiers have lost their lives in Iranian attacks, according to confirmed U.S. military reports. These are not statistics. These are people. Now, here's where things get very interesting and very confusing. Just yesterday, President Donald Trump announced that he was postponing planned strikes on Iran's energy grid for 5 days. He claimed there were, in his words, major points of agreement with unnamed Iranian officials, and that talks had been productive. But here's the twist. Iran flatly denied that any negotiations ever took place. Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Khalibaf, called the reports complete fabrications, saying the talks were fake news. Iranian sources linked to the Revolutionary Guard even warned that special plans were being arranged for Tel Aviv in response. And then, this morning, those missiles hit Tel Aviv. Meanwhile, a U.S. official confirmed that the pause only applies to strikes on Iranian energy sites. Military targets, the Iranian Navy, ballistic missile facilities, and defense industrial sites. Those strikes are continuing. So, is this a path to peace? Or is it a 5-day window before the war gets even worse? Honestly, right now, nobody knows. Even if you live thousands of miles away from the Middle East, this war is already affecting your life. And here's how. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE have all reported Iranian attacks on energy infrastructure. Iran has also placed the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical shipping lanes for oil, under severe threat. The International Energy Agency has warned that the current disruption could become the worst energy crisis in decades, with ripple effects running all the way through aviation costs, food supply chains, and everyday energy bills worldwide. Reports also indicate that Saudi Arabia and the UAE are now moving closer to potentially entering the conflict directly on the side of Israel and the United States. If that happens, the scale of this war changes completely. The world is watching, and the next few days, during Trump's 5-day pause, may determine whether this becomes a regional war, or something far, far worse. So, let's bring it all together. This morning, an Iranian missile struck the streets of Tel Aviv. 6 people were injured, 3 buildings were heavily damaged. This is day 24 of a war that has now killed thousands of people across Lebanon, Israel, Iran, and the wider Gulf region. A diplomatic pause has been declared by the U.S., but Iran says no such talks exist. Missiles are still flying, strikes are still continuing, and the next 5 days will be among the most important in recent world history. I will be covering every major development on this channel as it happens. If you want to stay informed with verified, fact-based reporting, not panic, not propaganda, then hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because this story is not slowing down. Drop a comment below. Do you think diplomacy can still work here? Or is this war going to get bigger before it gets better? I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.